today's edition of Ask Klein Math. Today we're going to be talking about kindergarten TEKS K.3C, and we're going to be talking about joining and separating. Kindergarten is the first place where we actually begin the process of addition and subtraction. And so our joining and separating problems, while they may seem very, very simple, they are the basis for students learning the act of joining and making a sum that is greater than the parts, and the act of separating, taking a whole and breaking it into parts. So that's what we really want to emphasize when we're talking about joining and separating for our kindergarten students. Another thing we want to really emphasize for them are connections to some real-world situations. So the TEKS calls for us to show our strategies in several ways, with spoken words, with concrete models, with pictorial models, and with number sentences. So we're going to look at some problems today that will cover all of those strategies. First thing we're going to look at is a blank problem from our Go Math book, and there's a script that goes with it. So as a teacher, I would first read the script. 2 sheep are in a pen. Then 2 sheep are added to the pen. How many sheep are there now? Draw to show the sheep. So I'm going to actually do this. I'm going to have my students work this out, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my marker, and I'm going to draw myself a pen, a nice big rectangle for my sheep to go in. And then I'm going to think about my problem. It told me 2 sheep were in the pen. Well, I don't have sheep, but I have bears. And so my bears can act as my 2 sheep. So I'm going to go ahead and physically put my 2 sheep in the pen. Then 2 sheep are added to the pen. So when I'm adding sheep to the pen, am I going to put more sheep in, or am I going to take sheep out? When I add sheep to the pen, it means I'm going to put them in. So it said 2 were put in, so I'm going to put in 1, 2. Making sure that they're 2 different colors so I can see the sheep that were already there and then the sheep that I put into the pen. So now, how many sheep are in the pen? Well, if we had 2 and we added 2 more, then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 sheep now in our pen. So our number got bigger. Our number became larger as we put more into our pen. So what we did was joining. These sheep joined the sheep that were already in my pen. So now it asks me to go ahead and write the numbers and trace the symbols. So here I'm going to start with my number of sheep that I had to begin with, which was 2. I'm going to very nicely write my number 2 in. Half a heart, and then add a shoe. And then it asked me how many more sheep came in. Well, I had 2 more sheep come in, so I'm going to again write my 2 in the blank. Half a heart, and add a shoe. So now I have my 2 numbers. I have my green sheep right here, my yellow sheep right here, and I'm going to go back and trace the symbols that now make this a number sentence. So this is our symbol for joining. This is the plus sign. I'm going to trace that, and I'm going to think about joining or making an amount larger when I trace my plus sign. Then to make my math sentence have a front half and a back half, because my math sentence has to have all of its parts, I want to be sure that I trace this equal sign. And we'll talk about the equal sign as showing us that we're balanced. It's like having a balance. So everything that's on this side is going to be the same as on this side. It may be written in different ways, but it's all going to balance. So if I have 2 and 2, my answer is going to be 4. So my 2 sheep that I started with, my 2 sheep that joined them, gives me 4 sheep in all. So now I'm going to read this number sentence that satisfies our other part of our TEKS, where we need to read that 2 sheep plus 2 more sheep equals 4 sheep. Or we could say 2 sheep and 2 more sheep is the same as 4 sheep. So we would read it 2 different ways. All right, let's look down at the bottom. Now we have some work in our 10 frame, actually our 5 frame down here. And our 2 number sentences, it's asking us which one of these number sentences is correctly showing what we have in our 5 frame. I'm going to get out my 5 frame and we're going to build this and we're going to really take a look at it and see what we have. So it looks like in my 5 frame I have 3 red counters, and then I have 1 yellow counter. So here I could write in my 5 frame that I have 3 red counters and I have 1 yellow counter. So if I were making a math number sentence out of this, what would I do? I put my 3 and my 1 together, so I'm going to join them. That's going to be my plus symbol. And then I want to be sure I have my equals because I want to know how much I put together so that my other side of my equals is the same. So if I have 3 plus 1 more, that would be 3, and I count on 4. Then I would take a look at my 2 number sentences that I've been given here on my page. I just wrote my number sentence. I just said my number sentence. So let's look at these 2 number sentences. Which one would be correct? The one just like what I just wrote on my whiteboard. So it would be my 3 plus 1 equals 4. So I would mark my number sentence that matches this picture. All right, when we look at separating, we're going to do a very similar activity for separating in much the same way. We want to address all the ways that we could separate and show our separation. So again, we're going to use spoken words, we're going to use concrete and pictorial models, and we're going to use number sentences as we show separating. So for this one, again, I have a real world contextual problem that I want my students to take a look at. Blair has 2 marbles. He gives 1 marble to his friend. How many marbles does Blair have now? Well, I happen to have 2 marbles. And I'm going to actually pull out the 2 marbles and put them on my paper. We're going to look at them and see what happens. So I have 2 marbles, and I'm going to give 1 to my friend. So I know when I write my number sentence that I'm starting with my whole number here. So the whole number of marbles that I have is 2. So let's write our 2 in, half a heart, and add a shoe. So we have our 2 marbles, but then it says I'm going to give a marble to my friend. So I'm going to take these marbles apart, and I'm going to give this one to my friend. So I'm going to put it way over here out of my problem where it's gone to my friend. How many marbles did I move out of my problem? Just 1. So a nice tall line to show the 1 I moved out of my problem to give it to my friend. And how many marbles do I have left for me? I have 1 left for me. So let's go back in and trace our symbols. We had 2 marbles, and then 1 was taken away. That is subtraction, and for that we say the word minus. So 2, here's the minus symbol or the subtraction symbol. 2 minus 1 equals, there's that equal sign again. That shows us that we're making a complete math sentence. 2 minus 1 equals 1. So this is telling me if I have 2, and I take 1 away, I'm going to have 1 left. 2 minus 1 is the same as 1. So we've separated our marbles now, and you can see that there's a marble here, and there's a marble with my friend. They're not together anymore. They were separated. All right, let's look at our story problem on the bottom. We have some friends in the park. let's take a look at this. We have 5 children who went to the park together. So I'm going to take 5 of my linking cubes, and I'm going to put my 5 linking cubes together to represent my 5 children who went to the park. Then 2 children leave. So if I have my linking cubes, I'm going to ask myself, if children leave, does that mean I'm going to put more linking cubes on here, or I'm going to take some of these linking cubes away? Well, if you're leaving, you're going to be going away. So I'm going to take 2 linking cubes away. Here's 1, and here's 2. I'm going to take those 2 linking cubes away. I'm still going to have some linking cubes that are together. These are my children at the park, but these linking cubes went away. So how many children are staying at the park? Well, this looks just like our friends on the bench here. These 3 friends stayed at the park. These 2 friends were going away. So if I have 3 friends who stayed, 2 friends who went away, my friends who went away are going to help me with my story problem. So I'm going to write this now as a math sentence, a number sentence. How many friends did I have that started at the park? I had 5. And then what happened? 2 of my friends went away. So how many friends am I going to have left? Well, let's figure that out. If I started with 5 and 2 went away, let's think about the symbol we want to put in here. When my friends are going away, they're leaving, they're separating from me. So they're separating from me, and that gets a subtraction sign, a minus sign. So I had my 5 friends, my 2 friends separated or went away from me, and then I'm going to put my equal sign so that I can complete my math sentence. How many friends are left at the park? My 3 friends are left at the park. I'm going to read this number sentence as 5 friends were at the park, 2 friends left, 3 friends were still at the park. So my number sentence is going to say 5 minus 2 equals 3. Or I'm going to look at this as 5 less than 2 with 2 less. 5 minus 2, 2 less that went away, is the same as 3. When you're joining and separating, it's really important to tie these to real-world situations that students can work out. So if you are working out these problems, be sure you're working them out with your manipulatives, with your whiteboards, and actually acting them out. It's a lot of fun to act out joining and separating problems.